Who wouldn't by now know that China is a strategic supporter of Russia, especially following its bid to effect change in our current world and era of rising concerns over the dominance of a nation or few over every other nation in the world? But what is this newest happening in support of China to Russia following the Wagner's insurrection against Vladimir Putin's long term of ridership over Russia? This and more will be yours in today's report, but before we proceed, welcome to Cracked Info, your #1 channel that brings you latest updates on recent happenings on economic, geopolitical issues, and technological developments around the globe. China has once again voiced support for Russia after a short-lived insurrection posed the gravest challenge to the 23-year rule of Vladimir Putin over Russia. A close partner of Chinese leader Xi Jinping and his push for a new world order and strategic alignment against the United States said. The brief organized rebellion by the Wagner mercenary group reverberated beyond Russia, including in neighboring China, where Xi has forged a strong rapport with fellow authoritarian Putin, thanks to their mutual distrust of the West, a strategic bond that has only deepened in recent years, even after Moscow's stumbling invasion of Ukraine. There's probably some scrambling around in Beijing, a move to figure out what this means for Putin going forward, especially if it means a more fractured Russia or a Putin who is very much weakened, said Chong Jia-Ian, an associate professor of political science at the National University of Singapore. Beijing, under the leadership of Xi Jinping, finally broke its silence late on Sunday night, giving support to Russia with a terse statement that brushed off the incident as Russia's internal affair. Being Russia's friendly neighbor and comprehensive strategic partner of coordination for the new era and possible de-dollarization campaign, China supports Russia in maintaining national stability and achieving development and prosperity, said a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson in the online statement. The carefully crafted Beijing public comment came well after the brief and chaotic rebellion had dissipated, with warlord Yevgeny Prigozhin agreeing on Saturday to pull back his fighters in a deal with the Kremlin that would reportedly see him enter into exile in Belarus. This came also after Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andriy Rudenko flew to Beijing to meet with Chinese officials on Sunday. In this meeting, the two sides reaffirmed their close partnership and political trust. Qin Gang, China's foreign minister, and Rudenko exchanged views on Sino-Russian relations and international and regional issues of common concern, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said in a one-line statement posted on its website, with a photo showing the pair walking side by side while smiling at the previously unannounced meeting. Russia's foreign ministry reported that Rudenko also held scheduled consultations with China's deputy foreign minister Ma Jiaxu. China, on its part, expressed support for the efforts of the leadership of the Russian Federation to stabilize the situation in the country in connection with the events of June 24, and reaffirmed its interest in strengthening the unity and further prosperity of Russia, the Russian ministry. Following the Chinese readout, Ma told Rudenko that the mutual political trust and cooperation between China and Russia had grown continuously under the leadership of Xi Jinping and Putin. He equally pledged to safeguard the common interests of both countries under what Ma termed a complex and grim international situation. In the light of close bond, it's undisputed that Xi, China's most authoritarian and powerful leader in decades, has met Putin in person 40 times since coming to power in 2012, far more than any other world leader. That's quite a record. In recent years, known to all as the world's two most powerful autocratic leaders have brought their countries even closer together in an ambition to challenge what they see as a world order inflicted by American hegemony. The duo declared a friendship with no limits in February 2022. This came shortly before Putin launched his war on Ukraine. Since then, China has refused to condemn the invasion and instead provided much-needed diplomatic and economic support for Russia, a position that has further soured its relations with Western nations, especially in Europe, America at most. However, as the devastating war drags on, Beijing's costly alignment has been compounded by fears that the protracted conflict could ultimately destabilize Putin's grip on power. Nothing has distinctively brought out those fears more than the extraordinary show of defiance by Wagner's insurrection, which shattered the veneer of total control Putin has struggled to maintain more than 16 months into the invasion. There seemed to have been an avoidable civil war in Russia. For now, something Beijing will greet with a sigh of relief and determination to forge with its allies the agenda to rebalance power in a changing world. It is safe to say an internal conflict within Russia not only risks the stability of its 4,300 kilometers, 2,672-mile, shared border with China, it would also make Moscow a less useful partner for Beijing to counter the U.S., or worse, it could give rise to a new regime more open to the West and less friendly to China. Now, China wouldn't want that to happen as it ruins its plans against America. One political scientist with the Australian National University's Taiwan Studies program, Wen T-sung, said Beijing is likely worried about the weakening of Putin. China likely fears a domino effect, that if Russia falls, China may be next, he said. For China, Putinist Russia is useful cushion both geopolitically and ideologically, especially during the era of Biden administration's value-based alignment rhetoric. How the social media has been buzzing with this latest development, that sense of political symbiosis is palpable in Chinese discussions about the Russian upheaval, which have dominated China's tightly controlled social media over the weekend, with many persons citing the Chinese idiom, "If the lips are gone, the teeth will be cold." Noted is the fact that Chinese state media has sought to stress continued stability within Russia and portray Putin in a positive light, Sung said. The media found videos of Wagner fighters occupying military facilities in Rostov-on-Don, home to the headquarters of Russia's southern military district, and departing the city to the cheers of local residents were broadcast Saturday around the world. However, those kind of scenes were notably missing from China's most watched news program on state broadcaster CCTV. Rather, the prime-time program aired footage showing traffic moving calmly outside the Kremlin and tourists posing for photos near a pair of security officers, as well as a determined Putin vowing retribution for those on a path to treason in his national address. On Sunday, the same prime-time show displayed videos of Wagner tanks and armored vehicles retreating orderly, escorted by police vehicles. This Wagner insurrection contradicts the narrative of Putin as a strong leader who enjoys full support of his people and is here for the long stay as China's global partner of choice, he said. Some furthered in a statement, if Putin's rule was unstable, then supporting him is bad business. There seemed to be more of China establishing weakening ties with Europe as in recent months. Beijing has sought to portray itself as a peace broker in an effort to repair relations with Europe, but it has also continued to deepen ties with Moscow. Xi Jinping and Putin made a sweeping affirmation of their alignment across a host of issues and shared mistrust of the United States during the Chinese leader's first visit to Russia since the invasion. Right now, there are changes, the likes of which we haven't seen for 100 years, and we are the ones driving these changes together, Xi Jinping told Putin as they bid farewell at the doorways of the Kremlin. Going 3 months on, the co-driving force for Xi Jinping's vision appears to be at his weakest in decades, following Wagner's mutiny which punctured his infallible image and exposed cracks in his rule as president of Russia. To China's most nationalist scholars and commentators, Putin's diminished status was not lost on even at all the recent happenings. Jin Canrom, an international relations professor at Renmin University in Beijing, wrote, "Although Russia's nightmare came to an end temporarily yesterday, this incident will definitely hurt Russia and Putin's image," wrote Sunday on Weibo, where the Wagner insurrection was a top trending topic over the weekend. A government advisor who goes by the name Jin, known for his fiercely anti-U.S. rhetoric, described the rapid turn of events as surreal. It is very dangerous for a country to support and keep such a large non-state military group, noting this lesion may break out at any time, he wrote. This, he said, aiming to raise concerns over the need for Putin to do something about its dissolution. Before Prigozhin aborted his insurrection comment on Twitter, Saturday, Hu Xijin, the former editor of the nationalist Global Times, said the armed rebellion has made the Russian political situation cross the tipping point. Regardless of his outcome, Russia cannot return to the country it was before the rebellion anymore, he said in the tweet, which was later deleted. This is where we wrap things for today. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed yet as a means to support us.